So in recent years, if I remember correctly, as recent as 2018, Northeast Ohio was #1 in the country for teen suicides, the teen suicide rate. You being superintendent, being here at a high school, middle school, elementary, how are you seeing the addiction issue tying in with that, and what is it you guys are doing here to combat that?
Okay. Yeah, I would say, first of all, I believe that those stats are right. I think that, I think back to a couple of years ago, we were in the height of dealing with, thank goodness we weren't dealing with it personally. We weren't dealing with the fact that we were losing kids to teen suicide in our own school district. But I can tell you, I could see it being lived out just a few miles north of us. And I saw firsthand the devastation that it was creating in another local school district just a few miles north of us in Stark County. And I saw the devastating effects that it was having on the staff, on the families, on the entire community. I saw that superintendent. I sat in a meeting with that superintendent where he completely broke down because of losing life, losing kids from his school district. So your question of, how do I think that opioids or addiction are maybe feeding into that? I think is certainly a source. I think there's multiple sources probably to the teen suicide issue, whether it be addiction. I think these are Mark Murphy.
A good source, by the way, Superintendent of the Year.
Well, thank you. I think that brokenness, divorce, loneliness, anxiety, perfectionism, not feeling valued, poor self-image, being consumed by what other people think of me, and perhaps not living up to those things. I think those are some of the contributing factors to teen suicide today. And as a local school district, this is just our story, but I would also be quick to say that I know that the kinds of things that Tuscarawas Valley Local Schools is trying to do are the same kinds of things that fortunately all of our local school districts are doing. And I'm so proud to be a part of a county where our school districts are working together in partnership with our Educational Service Center, in partnership with the Adams Board, in partnership with local agencies, in partnership with our churches and community. We're to try to take a proactive stance on it. For us, as a local school district, some of the things that we're trying to do, first and foremost, is to build a culture here where our students know that they are loved and that they are cared about, they are valued, that they're important. I see firsthand. I hear the phone calls. I hear it in my principals' voices. I see it when I'm out and about visiting in the buildings and meeting with kids or meeting with families. I see how divorce and brokenness, that sense of hopelessness, the sense of I can't measure up, those are like traumatic events that then feed into and become manifested in our environment, in the public school environment. That's what's happening. It's so easy to hide at home. It's easy to hide behind my screen. It's easy to hide behind my social media profile because I get to personify or project the image that I want other people to think about me. And I see kids doing that a lot, and it's a trap. So the kinds of things that we're trying to do here locally is, in addition to letting them know that we love them, and I use that word. I use that word with our kids. We love you. I love you. I am here for you. Because they're not all getting it in other places. They're not getting it perhaps. Now, I'm not saying that for everyone. We've got phenomenal families here. And I don't want anybody watching this think, oh my gosh, Tusky Valley, they're a mess. Not really. But what we're trying to do is be in the mess, be real with kids and their families, and do everything we can to support them and to love them and to help them overcome obstacles. We took a classroom that was really not being used well and converted it to our recharge room. So this is an environment where students can come any time of the day. All they need to do is they come in and they check in. They check in, so that way our guidance counselors and our principal know that Erik Frederickson signed himself into the recharge room. Then typically this room is staffed by not adults. Our students are trained. The Hope Squad students themselves are trained, and then they staff this during their lunch, during their study hall. Instead of sitting in study hall, they come here. The room was designed by and with our students. I think that in Tuscarawas County, currently in Tuscarawas County, this may be the only recharge or space that is specifically designed for this purpose. But I do know that there are other school districts that are working with us and are interested in learning more.
You know, it's interesting for me being in high school halls, which I've been in a little bit recently because now I have the privilege of speaking at some, but my experience with high school was that I would be walking down these halls high as a kite off painkillers, or stoned or drunk or angry or whatever. Obviously now God has radically transformed my life. Things are much different. But what's some of the things you guys are doing here to promote community, see some of that go away here in the culture in your school?
I love that question, Eric. It really is about developing a culture of community and compassion, kindness, connectivity. We want all of our kids to feel that they are connected, that they're valued, and that their life matters, and that their voice matters. And one of the ways that we've tried to approach that is by we started this year across the board, K to 12. K-12 at Tusky Valley, we offer what's called, at the elementary school, it's called Trojan Tribe Time. At the middle school level, grades 5 through 8, we call it Trojan Time. And here at the high school, we call that Base Camp, our high school base camps. But all that to say is it's an opportunity for our students to get together in a small group setting. So maybe 8 to 10 students in a group.
Processing with peers.
Processing with peers,
wow.
Also with another caring, loving adult. So it could be the school custodian or the kitchen staff or our teachers or our principals and counselors. I lead one. I lead one of our high school base camps with my secretary, Kara. And I love it. It's an opportunity where I get to personally connect with our students in a way that's different, where we can talk about life. We can talk about, for instance, one of the topics a month or so ago was on the topic of empathy. What does empathy mean? How do you show empathy? What is the difference between empathy and sympathy?
Right.
Do we recognize that difference? We always end with, you know, how can we be thinking of you? What do you need? How can we care for you? But I love the fact that what we're doing essentially at Tusky Valley is creating an atmosphere and a culture where we've got all of our students in these small groups where we are doing life together with them.
Yep.
The key is doing life together with them, because we don't want our students to be walking down a hallway high as a kite, or drunk, or lonely.
And nobody knows.
And no one knows.
Yeah.
Because if I were a high school student today, and we can all relate to this, where we can hide.
Yeah.
I can hide. I can put out a vibe or project something that really I'm not, or I'm struggling with. What I love about this small group environment is just gathering kids together in a trusting, caring environment where we can talk about life and challenges of life and how to cope, how we can equip them to be...
I like that word, equip.
I do too. Equip them to be confident and to move forward, to move through obstacles, to move through barriers, where we recognize together, we talk about and we recognize the struggles that they're going through. We're not all licensed counselors. That's not our job. But what we are but what we are we are caring human beings. And as educators, I believe we are called to that.
Right.
That's why we're in this business in the first place.